So I'm welcoming the fellow Holy Trinity Orthodox Seminary alumnus, reader George Luimes, who is talking to us today from Baltimore, from the 20th All-American Council of the Orthodox Church in America. Good afternoon, Reader George.
Hello, Father. Thank you for having me.
Would you please introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So I am, until very recently, was a pastoral assistant and choir director at Our Lady of Psarev Church in Gracie, Ontario. Mm-hmm. I'm a graduated 2018, and next month I'll be moving with my wife and daughter to Kodiak, Alaska, to join the community at St. Herman in both an administrative and teaching role.
All right, very good, very good. What are your impressions from the event?
My impressions, first of all, is how organized it is. It's interesting. They have kiosks down the hallway, and people pay $500 for a kiosk, and it can be anything from Holy Trinity has their bookstore. Different individual churches have kiosks to kind of, raise funds for their church and spread awareness. There's even one for deaconesses, interestingly enough, to raise, discussion about that. And so there's a lot to see. The meetings themselves, I believe the main vote this time was something involving the pension fund, but it was discussed very thoroughly. Each parish in the OCA will send delegates to this meeting, and then any priest who's a rector of a parish can be a delegate automatically to the meeting, and they vote. They vote on these different issues, and people tend to be very informed about the issue. The treasurer and the secretary and the chancellor and the metropolitan all went up and gave reports. Open reports about the finances, about the running of the jurisdiction, and people asked very kind of engaged questions. It was interesting to watch how lay people and how priests from around the OCA could be very engaged and very aware of where the OCA was when it comes to the administration and the running of the jurisdiction. So that was my first impression. It's interesting talking to people from different jurisdictions in the OCA and speaking to different bishops. There is quite a bit of variety from jurisdiction to jurisdiction about the issues they care about the most, about the traditions, the different backgrounds that people come from. With Russian Church abroad, there are differences, but of course many of them are from a Russian background, are from a similar historical background, being refugees from this revolution, and so going to a ROCOR parish that's not a completely convert parish, you generally there are similarities across jurisdictions, very similar. Across dioceses, but in the OCA, the Diocese of Alaska, which I will be going to, very different situation than say the Diocese of Western Pennsylvania, and so it's interesting to watch them all come together and in such an organized fashion kind of talk about the OCA in general.
Right. So basically, next time, God willing, ROCOR Studies can set up a kiosk there.
That'd be fantastic. Absolutely.
Right. So that's very, very vivid. Very vivid. Do you think we can use sort of some measure of conciliarity that you experience there? Is it something that you think benefits our church? Basically, how is this all applicable to us? Is this applicable, or it's some kind of reality that is far away from our reality?
It's an interesting question. I think that it could be beneficial, but it would take a deal of reflection from ROCOR about how we see the way the church is run and how we presume the church is run. One of the interesting things about and some people in ROCOR would see this as a bad thing, some as a good thing, but but the lay people have a lot of say in the running of things, to the point where there was a vote that on something that I won't go into details, but there was a vote where what the Metropolitan wanted to have happen didn't pass a vote by the lay people. And that would almost seem, shocking maybe to someone in ROCOR, that what the bishop side, And so the thing is that having the more administrative side, ROCOR would have to decide and think about what comes natural to it and what will be best for it. I think the main thing that ROCOR could learn from is the transparency, is being very open about where we are financially, where we are administratively, and then allowing everyone in ROCOR to see this transparency of where we're going and what we're doing. And the OCA, I think, learned this the hard way. There were financial scandals in the past. There was a lack of accountability, and now they take that very, very seriously. And despite, how ROCOR might choose, how our bishops elected, how our resolutions passed, ROCOR might have their own way of doing that. But the transparency, I think, is an objectively good part of it that ROCOR might, benefit from considering copying.
Right. Thank you so much, Reader George, for your time and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you for having me, Father. Looking forward to seeing you soon.